does that mean that you think Markkanen is better than Donovan Mitchell, or that Donovan Mitchell doesn't pass the plausible test for you?
No, I think it's plausible. They're signaling so hard via so many different people, Cleveland, that they don't want to trade him, that it makes me think they might trade him. Like, when Zach Lowe and Jake Fisher and I think Shams and Mark Stein all kind of report the same thing, that the Cavs aren't entertaining offers, it makes me think that they're maybe just trying to drum up offers.
That they are absolutely entertaining offers? Yeah.
But they just want like the biggest offers possible. Just last thing on Markkanen, the other team that I thought for him is just how many picks and Randall to get him to the Knicks.
I think Danny Ainge hears the name Julius Randle come out of whoever's running the front office in New York's mouth and says no. I don't think Danny Ainge knows the phrase LOL, but if he did, he would probably say that.
He doesn't use emojis, but he'd send like a crying emoji, just being like, "You serious, bro?" Yeah, that's probably true.
So Markkanen's better than Mitchell.
I don't know if he's
not.
He's not, but I think there's a way that I view him as like a cleaner fit for in different situations where I could just see him being a version of like the Aaron Gordon thing, where it's like you get a really good guy in and maybe it doesn't happen right away, but he just adds to whatever you're building. And I think Mitchell is kind of changing what you're building in a way that I think carries a little bit more risk in some ways. That's just why I put him one. I also just want it to be a little spicy.
So I'll just pick Mitchell then and nominate him. I think that Mitchell is a perfect example of why we did the intro of the recent history and the NBA history. Whatever team gets Donovan Mitchell, that is too significant of an assimilation process to win a championship. One, I'm skeptical of Mitchell doing that until I see a lot more from him in the postseason, period. But I'm definitely skeptical that he's going to come onto a team and be ready to do that 3 months later. So I don't know if you've thought about, not from a Cavs fan perspective, but from just a what team would Mitchell truly fit on the best angle. But I don't see any place that he would go, maybe outside of Miami, that I would have any real hope could, push for a championship right away with him.
Miami would be a really excellent fit, I think, for what he is and what some of his weaknesses are. And that's a place that I do think could have an immediate smash return. That is just a machine that keeps on humming, and you put him in that system with Jimmy Butler, with the playmaking infrastructure they have, with Bam Adebayo. Like, I think that team is just absolutely humming with Mitchell. That's kind of the only answer, I think, as far as hitting the ground running. You look out west, I don't think there's a team really in that conference, in the upper echelon, that even really should be looking at a Mitchell trade, I think, is the thing. Like, you could convince me the Pelicans, but I don't think that's elevating them in the way that they might hope.
Also, he's probably leaving.
Yeah, they would kind of just be like subbing themselves in for the Cavs situation. Is just like, is he going to stay, and giving up stuff for him when you maybe shouldn't do that?
I mean, I like him in Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn is... Miami and Brooklyn to me are the two. I don't know how I ended up following and getting my algorithm filled with so many Nets fans, but recently I feel like that fan base is low-key, quietly, one of the more angry ones in the NBA. I'm seeing like impassioned hate against Mikal Bridges' offensive game that I can't quite place, considering he is fully in over his head with how much they're asking him to do, and I think any reasonable person could see that. But it feels like the limitations of even a roster that is clearly transitional for this franchise, I think that's kind of... they're bumping their head up against, like, we got to do the transitioning part a little more here. We can't keep this thing that's just not working because it doesn't seem to be benefiting anybody, because nobody really seems to be getting much better either, because there's just such obvious holes in the roster. And I think Mitchell fills a lot of those, just as somebody that can have the ball in his hands and even out what the offensive responsibilities need to look like. Their package, I think, would be a big question there, but that team feels ready-made for Mitchell, probably even more than Miami, because Miami doesn't like super duper need him. They were just in the finals, whereas Brooklyn, it's like, can we get somebody in here, please?
Yeah, but where I would disagree with you that I think the Heat are the more ready one, just because I think you get Mitchell in there, you're supercharging yourself to make an even more real push to win a championship. Mm-hmm. Jimmy, Donovan, Bam is electric and fits together perfectly. I think I also think Miami's the situation that can coax something out of Mitchell we haven't seen yet. That could push him outside of what he just naturally wants to do, because they're just not going to put up with Donovan not doing what like the Heat culture is about. That's just the uniqueness of that situation. I don't know if Brooklyn's going to do that. I don't know if the Knicks as the other team that has long been linked to Mitchell could do that. I don't know if there's another scenario out there that really gooses him up in that way. The Heat one would just be really fascinating.